Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's Brian and Jim here with DrinkABeerandPlayAGame, and welcome to another episode of the Power Hour podcast.
Yes, hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 230. Holy God, why? Why have we done so? Happy to be here. Hope you're all having a good night. Brian, how you doing?
Not bad, Chambers. I'll start off by saying I have my whiskers and tea.
Oh my God.
Everyone in my house is currently sick, so I already feel it in my throat, and I know it's coming. So,
Brian, you sick? What
yeah,
happened?
I know.
Such a change.
I mean, house full of 6 people, Jim. Everyone gets sick. That's what happens.
Well, stop kissing everybody.
You don't tell me how to live my life. I don't tell you how to suck dick. But
exquisitely. I'm a gentle lover.
Yeah, no. So yeah, keeping it fairly low key. Didn't want to aggravate the old throat. But other than that, no. Man, I'm getting old, Jim. Now I'm up to your age. I'm really feeling it in my bones. It's every day's a blessing, as you would say.
Oh, Brian. See, anyone watching the video version of the podcast can see not a lot of work had been done in the game room yet. And I had a long weekend, had all these delusions of grandeur. But Brian, there are 2 things that got in the way. 1, I'm 37. 2, I'm fat. And those 2 things combined to me pulling my back somehow on Friday. And I was laid up for a couple days. It was no good.
Lower back?
Lower back, yeah. I actually think I know the culprit. So because of my fatness, embarrassingly enough, I wound up breaking my chair at work about 2 weeks ago. So it wasn't like fully broken, but it was like the one armrest kind of like shot off a little bit. Some could say sheared. And yeah, if I had sat fully back, I would have been like at an angle for those watching at home. Just think back and to the right. Let's put it that way for the visual. And I was like, yeah, this is fine, whatever. And I'm sitting there, just holding myself up and crap like that. So I go into work today after having my back injury, and I'm sitting in there and I'm like, oh my God, this is terrible. This is just not helping anything right now. So like, I just immediately threw it out and just took another chair. So I think I found the culprit, Brian. I think there's a little bit of wear and tear over there, over the time.
Do you think that is the culprit for why you threw out your back?
Was a portion, probably. I think it was the thing where it's like, I was probably twisting myself in such a weird way for so long. And not like super far, but probably just enough that over time, it just kind of wore down.
Did you do any lifting of anything? Like anything around the house where you might have bent down and...
No, it happened at work. Like I was just like bending over to like read something, and I guess I did it quick in a weird angle, and then I was just like,
yeah.
Oh, I feel that.
Shit.
Yeah, people would look at me like, what happened to your chair? And I just have to be like, nah, I don't know. It just kind of happened. The whole chair. Man, where's the budget for furniture around here?
Was it you that broke one of those white plastic lawn chairs before?
Probably.
I think like really early on in meeting you, I think there was like a time, like you said, you were just like defeated. You're like, fuck it.
Yeah, that sounds like me. Or there was another time I was hanging out with like mutual friends one time. And I forget what was going on. Like, I think we were like playing Uno or something like that. And we're all sitting on folding chairs. And like, I pulled off some like major move. I was all cocky and shit like that. And I was like, boom, motherfucker. And I just like went to sit back down and the fucking chair just collapsed in on itself. And I was like, well, there goes my dignity.
Wait. When you say folding chair, what?
Metal folding chairs, Brian.
No.
Yep.
You can't break those like that.
You would think.
Or is this like a cheap, like, super thin, not like the heavy duty ones?
I mean, it was a metal folding chair. It might have been one of the cheapy ones. For the sake of my dignity, the little bit I have left, I will say yes.
Shit.
Every day's a blessing. Every day's better than the one before. Right, you think with all this, one of these would be a wake-up call to better myself, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Jim, well, I mean, come on. What's the point? Just enjoy life.
Right, I envy no man.
I mean, we could be like our old buddy Doug. Just want you to hit rock bottom.
Oh, he tried. Oh, did he try.
He wanted you on heroin. He wanted you on everything.
He was like, Jim, the only thing you're ever going to improve. So for those who don't know, which is like everyone, we had a friend in college. Friend is a strong word here, but we had a guy who was, part of the group ish. And his name was Doug. And he was a character. He was very much the liar type, the stab you in the back to get ahead type. And we're talking about just like school projects. And not even just me, the lazy shit that I was. Like, he would look at other people and just be like, oh, hey, you want to go? And we're like, Doug, what the fuck? We need another person. He'd be like, no, I'm working with these guys for this. That type. So he had an interest in me because of me being me. And he was like, Jim, I feel like we have to like fully break you in order for you to improve. He's like, you have to hit like full on rock bottom. He's like, you're out here, you're doing your weed, you drink too much, you dabble in other things here and there. He's like, you should just go on heroin. You should just go on heroin and bottom out, and then we can build you back up better and stronger. And we're all sitting there going, I don't think that's how it works, Doug.
Yeah, we were pretty opposed to that idea. But Jim, here's my question: what if you could see alternate timeline Jimmys, and if one Jimmy did that, and then all of a sudden you're a crypto millionaire right now?
Oh my God! It's like, imagine that there's like a crypto millionaire alternate Jimmy who's doing like the "It's a Wonderful Life" and looking at this and going, "Oh God."
Stop breaking the chairs.
Do a sit-up, you fat shit.
So you threw out your back. So yeah, the weekend was non-productive. I was gonna say, it literally looks like that one. I think that's a long cardboard box. It's still in the same spot going into that closet over there.
Yes, that's actually the framing for my new kitchen cabinets that I'm not gonna put in until I have new floors, which I'm probably not gonna have for like a year or two. So I'm gonna have to find a more permanent spot for that. Or that'll wind up like the crown molding in my old house that never went up after 7 years. So who's to say, Brian? At least this won't get eaten by termites, probably. Hopefully.
Yeah, don't jinx yourself right now, Jim.
So I'm saying probably.
All right, well, here's a question. Since you were laid out up on the couch, did you do any gaming this week, Jim?
I actually snuck in some gaming. So even though I was laid up, I still like had to drive us to like birthday parties that the kid had. Like she went to 2 different birthday parties over the weekend and other shit that was just going on. So yeah, I mean, I'm using the heated. I don't even use the heated seat ever in my car. I had that thing blaring, and it wasn't doing it. And it was doing enough to relax me. So that's bad. But I did play a little bit of gaming, Brian, and in the spirit of the spooky season, I didn't like have anything like at the ready that was like super duper Halloween. Like I probably could have done another Castlevania, but I wanted to do something different. So I actually started Limbo. That had been sitting and taking up space on my Switch for a while now. And I'm probably like an hour or so in. I think it's only like a 3.5 hour long game. So with my dumbass, it'll probably take me at least 5 to get through because it's a puzzle platformer and I got to use my little noggin. But yeah,
it's a good game. I really like that game a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about his aesthetic. You're just a little black silhouette. The only color is black and white in the entire damn thing. But, super moody, has its really spooky sections, its screwed up sections.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, every time you screw up, it's just you as a little kid dying in horrific ways.
Yeah.
I mean, not a spoiler at all, but within like the first 5 minutes, you're being chased by a gigantic spider that's like 10 times the size of you.
Yeah, everyone has seen that, and I feel like Limbo.
And it's a 13-year-old game. So.
That's what I was gonna say. There's no such thing as spoilers when it's that old. But no, with Limbo, it's one of those cases where, it's funny people say like graphics shouldn't matter in a game, but there are ones like this that are so stylized. It's like they absolutely matter. Like. They give the mood. They set the the impressiveness is nothing to do with the gameplay. It's not like it's bad gameplay. It's just so goddamn basic, but it's veiled under this really awesome you're almost. This is the inverse of usual, where you're looking at the screen and not really paying attention to what you're doing because you want to see everything that's going on. So I love games like this. I mean, did you ever do what's it called? Little Hands? Or Little Nightmares.
No, never did.
So, same vein, except 3D platformer. I would call it 2.5D-ish. But you know about that game, right?
I've heard of it. I've never really looked into it too much.
Yeah, if you beat this and you enjoy it, try that out. Because obviously there's Limbo and What's the other game that I think the same company made? That's really,
Inside. I have that sitting on my
Inside.
Switch too. There was like a deal one day.
Yeah. No. You know what, Jim? This is I'm proud of you because I was gonna hit you up with are you doing anything for the spooky season? Sorry that you threw out your back.
Oh, Brian,
But-
there is one little piece of accomplishment besides
Go
like
on.
little touch-ups of paint I had to do. I broke out the paint because I have a door in the game room now. So little hands-on Jimmy, we do the measurements, we go to Home Depot, we buy a door, and I'm trying to be lazy when I'm putting it in. And I'm like, all right, let's see if the hinges that came with it line up with the hinges that are already on the door frame. Of course not. So I'm like, okay, let me take these hinges off. And I'm looking at, I'm like, the ones in the frame are like built into the frame. They're not those like, those 3 ones that are just outside of it. Like, it's a metal frame. No wonder magnets stick to it. So I'm like, oh, good. This just got more complicated. So I was like, let me see if I can find the old hinges somewhere. Maybe I'll get lucky. So Jimmy does what Jimmy does. He went and snooped around the attic. Right, guess what I found up in the attic?
Go on.
I didn't just find hinges. I found a whole goddamn door.
There you go. See?
But Brian, there's a catch.
Uh-oh.
So I got to take the door I bought back, take it back to Home Depot.
Okay.
And a little beat up. I had to sand certain parts, and I painted it and along with everything else, so it looks good. But the dear wife, she's like, I want to be proud of you for saving us $150, but you're the only one who ever goes in the attic. How have you been up there a dozen times and never noticed that there is a door up there before?
That was gonna be my next question.
Yep.
I mean, it's the Jimmy Wimmy effect, right? Like,
It is the Jimmy Wimmy effect. There is no excuse I have other than, uh-oh, it's me.
Oh, Jim, for someone who is so OCD, attention to detail for your collection and certain things, the amount that you just let go right over your head is
Oh, we call it Napoleonized because I can't find shit ever that's right in front of me. Unless it's something I'm hyper fixated on, I will have either no care or no ability to find said thing.
Jimmy.
Life.
Well, good work. You know what? The door's there. You didn't do nothing like catastrophic with it, so good job.
Oh my god, I was like, please tell me I'm gonna have to try and unhandy Jimmy trying to fucking take out a door frame and put a new one in. I was like, no way in hell.
Yeah, I was gonna say that would not go over so well, I feel like.
No. What have you been
But-
playing, Bri?
So, so over the weekend was my birthday, and one of the gifts I got was Mortal Kombat 1. So, Starfield was kind of, it still is. I actually finished the second faction now. I have 2 more left, and I did, like I said, a bunch of side shit. So, I'm chugging along in Starfield, still loving it, still discovering shit.
Bri, how's Ocarina going?
Akahu?
Bri, how about that Zelda game?
Yeah, Jim. Yeah, that'll get done. Sure. So I got Mortal Kombat 1, and we've talked about this, so I don't want to belabor the point, but like the annoyance of you get a game, you got to download 85 gigs worth of shit. And I have like 2 hard drives, I think, hooked up to my Xbox, and they're like all close to full, if not full, because
It's a
I've
lot of gay
always...
porn.
God damn it, Jim. It's called happy porn. But I always used to, like with the games with gold, whether I wanted the game or not, I would download it, keep it on one of my drives, and be like, I'll get to it sometime. That was my virtual shelf collecting. Now it's caught up with me, and I was like, fuck, I have to like make room. And then not only do you make room, if you download to an external drive, some of these new games now, you have to have on your internal drive in order to play it all. So you can't play it off the external drive. So if I downloaded it, which I did, to an external drive because I had the most space, I went to hit play and it said it must be on an internal drive. So I was like, fuck! So I had to move and delete shit from my internal drive to other drives, then switch Mortal Kombat over. And this was like, I was going to go down and play because my shit downloads usually pretty fast, but this took forever. So today was literally the first day since getting it over the weekend that I actually played it.
Right, very Costanza-like. You're an importer-exporter.
God damn it. I hate you, Jim. I've played all of 30, 40 minutes of it. I beat the tower thing as Sub-Zero, of course. And then I started playing the invasion mode, which is like, kind of think like the crypt from 9 and 10, where you're moving around like an area, but instead of just moving around and unlocking shit, like you're doing these small little 1-round fights with sometimes fighters, sometimes they're like, what are they called? Tatarkan Guard. Like, but it's just generic Baraka. Yeah. So, obviously so far, looks awesome. The only thing I'm noticing is it feels a lot slower than some of the other Mortal Kombats. Which
really? Slower than 11? Because people complained 11 was slower than 10.
Yes, I think they're continuing in that trend. I said I had that. That was my issue with 11, was that it was slower than 10. And now this feels slower than 11. It could be I maybe just haven't played 11 in a while. Not saying it's bad. It's just like you reset your mind, because now you can still do combos, but it's definitely like way more methodical. And the whole cameo situation of like calling in to people, I'm still like trying to figure out a lot of like the usefulness of it. But it's cool. It's a Mortal Kombat game. I know I'm going to play through the story and love it, because they always do great stories. I'm just curious to see what really happens in the story, because I haven't watched any spoilers yet. And like I said, a reset of the whole universe or whatever, I kind of hate those style things, but maybe they'll pull it off. I don't know. So those really have been my main two games I've been playing. But, I'm sorry. Let me add one more. I decided to dust off the old Switch, and on some of my poos, decided to do a little Tetris 99. I've only done maybe 20, maybe 25 games. I came in second a few times, and I was like, I'm feeling rusty. It is kind of tough in there, Jim.
I'm actually shocked you didn't just try F-Zero 99. Try the new one.
I keep forgetting about that one. And you said that's free, but you have to have...
No, it's free with the basic online. So if you're playing Tetris, you can play F-Zero.
Then yeah, I'll do that then. I'll try that one out. That one you said, though, it's not just about racing. It's like you set up blocks for other people and shit.
And not like setting up blocks, but like spinning at the right time to try and mess them over, and like picking up these power-ups to get to the special boost areas and crap like that.
Yeah, I'll try that. Once again, I've never actually played an F-Zero game other than one round of whatever you call it, a race, on the Super NES Mini.
Yeah, I never played a ton of F-Zero myself either, so... Like, I have them, but I've, like, played them for a tiny bit, and I'm like, yeah, this is fun, and then I just kind of move on.
I don't even know if my bullshit can translate to a win in that game, because I feel like it's probably harder than Tetris 99. I'm guessing. I don't know for sure. I don't know. Jim, speaking of, though, have you gotten any wins in Tetris 99?
No, I haven't touched either of them in a while, so, nope, still zilched out. I need to play other stuff.
Jim, you need to get a win before the end of the year.
It won't happen. It's never going to happen. I'm just not good enough.
Instead of win before Jim can win. Come on.
We're actually... Oh my God, Brian feels so bad. He's doing something positive.
Jim, I've always tried to be positive with you. I just call you out on all your erroneous bullshit, which is a lot.
What erroneous bullshit? Never.
Don't you dare. Don't you dare. But Chambers, I forgot to ask you, what are you drinking today? Because it looks like something fancier than Keystone.
Oh, it is. It's a fancy boy, all right. So, Brian, this is actually a couple months old. I forgot I even had this 4-pack. And it's probably the last of my beers from my trip to North Carolina. So, from the Burial Beer Company outside of Asheville, North Carolina, this is the morbid comfort of the welcome aggression, Triple India Pale Ale. So I think I mentioned it when I was recapping my trip down there. This was that brewery that had all these super long-winded fancy names. And I was like, what are these, from books or songs or something? And they go, I don't know, they just sound cool. I was like, okay.
You're like, I kind of like that more.
Yep. So 10% alcohol by volume. So that nothing stays the same and everything becomes markable, the vice we struck around our skulls becomes the trap inside which we must crawl. Triple dry hopped with new harvests Simcoe alongside Australian Vic's Secret and Eclipse. But like the artwork on this is like awesome. You got like the heart with like smoke coming out of it on like an altar and a candle and, you know, all this imagery and crap like that. Like,
Jim, it looks like devil worship.
it does. Those godless whores who work there, they don't like the savior.
Damn it.
Fuck. They're nice.
I mean, at least
Beautiful
it's
people.
A horror-ish theme can, so I'll give you credit there.
Yeah, it's more the gothic realm, like you said. So yeah, it kind of fits the season. All right.
God damn it, Chambers. But no, we also want to get caught up on.
Oh, Brian, real quick aside, like, every time I have like a double or a triple or something like that, like I almost can't tell them apart anymore from like a hazy. They all just seem like juicy IPAs.
Yeah, triples aren't.
Is it just marketing bullshit? Like I don't.
Triples aren't really a thing. Doubles are definitely a thing. Triples are like they're trying to say. They're just trying to make it seem like, you know, it's more hops. They're using 3 different types of hops.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like orange juice.
Yeah,
It's got decent lacing in there, cloudy as hell, citrusy as hell.
Here's the deal. Double IPAs, there is a noticeable difference between that and a regular American or, you know, standard IPAs, I would say. Because standard IPAs, you're always going to be in that
Tree's asshole.
5 to 7% range of alcohol. Maybe a smidgen higher. But yeah, it's going to be very bitter.
Very bitter, very piney. Yeah.
Yeah, double IPAs are always the next step up, right? They're going to be here 7.5 to 10%. Like, you're not going to find a double IPA below that because they're stronger, hoppier. But they're hoppier, but somehow in whatever they do, and I don't know if it's other flavors they put in, I generally tend to feel like they're not as hoppy as standard ones, or bitter. And then triple, it's just more hops.
Another hop.
And then the only thing that they do try to make themselves stand out is by being higher than 10% or higher. So if you call yourself a triple, it's really just a designation above that double level, if that makes sense.
Makes sense.
So there's not a, like, you won't get a, oh my god, this tastes so different than the doubles I've had. Hazies are a completely different thing. They're unfiltered. They tend to have that heavier, juicy, citrusy flavor. And that's because they're also known as New England IPAs, because that's the style where it was born. So all other IPAs, if you drink a standard IPA, what you're drinking is a West Coast American IPA.
Ah, so what you're saying is if you hate black people, you should drink a hazy IPA.
God damn it, Jim.
Tell me I'm wrong.
You're right. But Chambers, the real question is, what questions do we have from our awesome patrons this week?
Oh, yes, Brian. Patreon.com/DrinkABeerandPlayAGame, where for as little as $2 a month, you can ask a question and we will answer on each and every single one of these Power Hour podcasts. And, well, when we get around to it, we also have our bonus segments. So we don't have one this week because we don't want to just, like, fart them out, because we didn't have any really good topics this time. We'll make it up for it next week. But, Brian, comments from last week's, we're talking about the Senran Kagura over here. From Burn Retinas, he was saying, I would almost crowdfund getting Brian to an anime convention at least once, but the experience would taint the soul forever. And G to the next level popping in saying, just make it a tier. I'll upgrade. Brian, I think we have to give the people what we want.
I mean, isn't MagFest pretty damn close to an anime convention?
No. Well, still too gaming, Brian. Still too much gaming. Too much gaming, too much music.
What would I expect to see? What would one that has no realm of understanding of anime to begin with, what would I see that would, like, what would I expect? What am I looking at there, Jim?
Well, I've never been to a proper anime convention myself, so I can't fully say. But I can expect probably even more cosplay than you see at a gaming convention. I would suspect you'd probably almost have a greater variance between people you really like seeing in cosplay and ones you really don't like seeing in cosplay.
I see what you're saying there. Okay.
And yeah, and for your sake, Brian, you wouldn't recognize goddamn anything that was being presented.
I'd be like, They all like my imagination is I'd see a lot of wigs that are probably blonde and spiky or black and spiky. Like I feel like those are two primary colors that you'd see for guy characters. And I feel like 95% of the females would be in some kind of skirt with something on their head that resembles cat ears. I don't know. I would have no idea what I'm looking at.
It would be interesting. Maybe we have to make a video of that one day. Just me and you teaming up, going to an anime convention.
Jim, how about this?
I'll be the man. Right, you be the man on the street. Will you just talk to people? I'll film it.
You know me. I would, but here's the deal. For the very very small amount that I could recognize, every time I say I do know that, you have to drink, Jim.
All right, fair.
It's not going to be much. It's just going to probably be like, oh, Attack on Titan. I think I know what that is.
You'll be like, hey, you're that Guko guy.
Damn it. I probably would fuck up every one of their names.
Even the ones you barely do know.
Jim, should I make a very uneducated like ranking and tier list of like Dragon Ball Z characters, and just based off of how they look and how I feel about them, be like, yeah, this one probably sucks. Like this one should go here.
That's actually a great idea. That's legitimate. You should actually make that video and put it out.
So what would it be? Just ranking the characters? Like I'm sure they have somewhere. Like I'll just do it based on their pictures or something. Be like,
yeah, no, just pictures.
Should I even now? What I would have to do is try and find one and not even know their names.
You're not going to know any of their names. No, what's going to happen? You know what? Let me put the tier list. Let me put the images together for you. I'll put it together, and then you have to go through it all and shit like that.
All right. I like that. I'll do it. I'll piss off a lot of people. Like, this guy's down here. They're like, he's an S tier.
He's such a goddamn carrot.
I'll do it. I'll gladly do it. See, G and Burned, you guys. We'll start with that, and then that actually does the same place that we go for Too Many Games. Do they do anime conventions?
Probably.
Yeah.
I'm sure if one comes through, we'll figure it out.
Nice. Very good suggestion, guys. See, it spark something.
There we go. For this week's questions. First up, from Burn Retinas. DBPG is getting a chance to make their own beer. Are your tastes similar enough to agree on a flavor and style, or market two flavors based on what you each like?
I think you'd have to go the two styles, right? Like, I think we would have to actually do three styles. One I pick, one you pick, and then the agreement. Kind of like how we feel about, like, reviews, right? Like, because I can already guess. I would be some kind of heavy stout, like imperial stout or something, coffee stout, bourbon stout. You would be a sour of some kind.
Most likely.
Then our in-between would...
Lager?
I was going to say, do we do that? Do we do, like, a Vienna lager or... Pilsner or something like definitely on the lighter side.
Right. Do we do a pumpkin? Do we put our money where our mouth is? We're the only beer people who seem to celebrate pumpkin beers.
Well, no, Jim, because we would have our seasonal beer, so we would already have a pumpkin.
Oh, right. Correct.
And since the thing that we both loved growing up, even if we don't like it now, we'd have to make it a Treehouse of Horror themed pumpkin beer.
Ah, yes.
I think our standard, it would have to be, you'd have to go with, some kind of Pilsner, Czech Pilsner, or some kind of IPA.
See, you know what's weird? Like, outside of, the standard, macro Pilsners, I don't really like any craft Pilsners. And I don't know if it's just a style that I don't like in general, or if no one really knows how to make something that tastes good. And I don't, hate them, but every time I drink them, I'm just like, I think I expected more from it, but I don't know what I was expecting.
I think one of my favorite regular Pilsners, outside of Czech Pilsners, would be the Prima Pils from Victory.
Prima Pils is solid.
Yeah, other ones, I agree. They're not usually great, because that's also, in reality... Most Pilsners aren't great. That's part of the problem. But I think each of us would have our own unique beer. And like I said, we would definitely have something that we combine together and we agree upon. Try to have the least hazy or a good hazy IPA. Maybe, I don't know.
Do we do it and just straight up call it the tree's asshole?
We could. I had to stop my video because it keeps for some reason unfocusing for me. We could actually, in spirit of you, Jim.
It would be on brand.
I definitely would. Do we do an offshoot of Lion's Head called Lion's Foot?
Oh, you know what? We should. It needs to have some kind of little game thing. We have to have a little, and just cut all the pretext out. We have to call it the icebreaker, and put some kind of riddles or something like that. Maybe a fun fact in there, some dumb crap like that.
And knowing our humor, it's just all dicks.
Oh yeah. Just
I like
unscrew
that
it.
idea.
You just unscrew it. It's just like, if it feels like more than 2 fingers, it's probably me.
God damn it. Good question though. I like that a lot.
Yep. Next up from Alex Perez. Greetings, gents. Happy spooky season. Best time of the year. Question. How do you guys handle juggling family time with gaming/DBPG channel time? Side note, this new Patreon app update sucks balls so far, and maybe I just need to get used to it. I will say I actually love the update to the app just because it runs so much goddamn smoother and faster now. Like, I have to get used to the layout of it and where everything is, but just like the fact that I could hit notifications and things just pop up instead of like having to sit there for like a full 5 minutes is like a godsend. So
Yeah.
I like the update.
So, as Jim is known to be a man not of the people, that probably means the update sucks.
Fuck yourself, Alex.
It's a great question, Alex. I mean,
I think he's another goddamn Braves fan. So, you know what? Fuck all of you. Fucking heartbreakers.
Game last
Goddamn blowing that goddamn game.
We specifically pushed recording one night because of the Phillies game, and I was like, "This is a good idea. We're just smooth sailing into the 6th inning, and
Into the 7th. 6 innings of good shit. I mean, you know, fucking goddamn Trey Turner had his little oopsie, which led to that goddamn run. It was all downhill after that. God
yeah,
damn it.
I hope tomorrow they get well.
It's the Super Bowl all over again. We had our foot on their throats, and we let them up.
Jim, I just hope at this point now people are willing to recognize Philly's really America's sports team.
It's the best home team. Come Wednesday when they see that home crowd, they'll know. Oh, they'll know.
Like between that, Eagles,
And we're not doing a goddamn Indian tomahawk chop on Indigenous Peoples Day. Oh boy, what a visual that is.
Yeah. But Alex, to your question, that is a great question. I mean, it's one of those things that I think obviously it gets tougher and tougher, right? Like, I know for me, weekends, I don't do anything game, site, anything related. Like, I always think, like, come Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, maybe once the kids are down, I'll go down and play. No, I'm exhausted. Like, usually because you're doing shit all day long. So, you know, you got to make that your kind of number one priority, and everything else kind of just takes a back seat. It's part of the reason Jim and I have talked. Like, there's plenty of ideas we have, but it's also like the time to play the game, the time to get together, the time to do that. Like, I know there's probably going to be a lull, but who knows when it is. Props to people out there who have kids and do this shit full time. Now, granted, if we didn't have full-time jobs, we could make do much differently. But anyone that juggles that, it's tough. And I think you could easily strain yourself, stress yourself out if you push too far. Like, if we were somehow able to keep up the level of reviews and shit we used to
No.
while having families,
No.
that means our kids, our wives, and our family life must be terrible because we're just ignoring this shit out of them, which is not viable. I mean, I know I can probably speak for Jim here on this. Like, yeah, like, you get it in when you can. That's why his number one gaming thing is a Switch. My Xbox has been taken over by my son for Minecraft and Roblox. Like, if you ever see my name on Xbox, you're gonna see those two games where I play the most, and I encourage it because I'll play with him. I'll play TMNT, Shredder's Revenge, or the Cowabunga Collection. That's where I get my most enjoyment right now out of gaming. The little bit of time I get to play Starfield or something else, I take it where I can.
Yep. Yeah, I don't game until the kid's asleep at the very least, or luckily she's finally getting to like a stage. Well, maybe it's because of the new house and like the den is kind of like her play area, where like she'll go down there and just like kind of play with her toys and just like it's almost like weird where I'm like, hey, you want me to do something with you? And she's like, no, I'm good. I'm playing my game. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
where I used to think back of all those years of, oh my God, just please play with yourself for like 10 minutes. And now it's not here. It's like, I've been replaced. She doesn't need me anymore.
Yeah.
So except for those like little stages, yeah, it's mainly just when everyone else is in bed. And that's if I'm not like playing a game, I have to still get around to playing Bionic Commando for our Patreon review. Or something like that. Where like Brian says, I'm tired as balls and I just go to bed.
Yeah. That's the shit. What's funny is that mentality of like, in the past, there would be no problem. It'd be 12, 1, whatever time you want to call it. And I would say, now I'm going to get in some gaming. And I would just be like, I'm just going to be tired tomorrow. It's fine. Yeah. You know what? It's like, I even get to the point where like, I have so many like movies I want to watch or horror movies or something. And I put on the TV in my room and like, I end up either putting on It's Always Sunny or Curb Your Enthusiasm or something to fall asleep to. And I even fall asleep in the middle of those things. Yeah. Getting the old things. That's why it's fucked up to say, but like if you ever are like sick enough, hence COVID or some of the other things, that's when you can actually get gaming done. Like
that's when I got most of my game. Like for level 50, I had my biggest spurts of banging shit out in 2 separate times. When I had my vasectomy and when I had COVID. Like I had time to myself. I was isolating or just, being rewarded with being away from everybody. And I would just be down there by myself for a couple days. For the love of God, please do not let me get COVID again until my game room is set up.
Yeah. I mean, what I will say is though, Jim, I don't know if you would be as flexible. I don't know how much leave you have, but like I'm a hoarder of my leave. Like I take it here and there. I take some time in Christmas if we go on vacation, but I usually have a decent amount banked. Like the ideal would be like I'm just gonna take a day off and just get like we always do it for COD, right? But like to actually take it off and be like, I just want to take a random like Tuesday or Thursday or something. Just take it off and then just stay home and game all day. That sounds like paradise.
Yeah, that is awesome. And that's something I don't get to. Well, this year, the fucking move just chewed up all my goddamn time.
Sure.
But for the most part, like last year, I had a lot of time by the end of the year. And I was like, I could take time off. But then it's also like bouncing like, but this is also like the slowest time of the year. It almost feels like a waste. So like my vacation doesn't like go from year to year. It's use it or lose it.
Yeah.
So
same.
I use to a certain point and then I would just like buy back like. Last year, I bought back like over a week of time. Like that was a beautiful check that I got for Christmas time.
There you go. Yeah, I mean,
that was clutch.
It's all balancing acts, but Alex, I mean, it's one of those things where I thought about this the other day. Like, yeah, the thought of gaming, there's almost a level to me now where I'm like, but then I gotta go down, set it up, like. Just the effort to come down and game sometimes, like, will also take it out of me. After the kids are in bed and everything, I'm like, So, yeah, I mean, everyone can do however they want, but do yourselves a favor.
Right, the honey-do list. You could have gotten something done off the honey-do list.
Yeah. Those house projects, that shit just, man, the way it gobbles up your time, Jim. Not that you know anything about that.
Sir, please.
Yeah. But no, great question, Alex. I like that one a lot.
Oh, yeah. And that wraps it up for this week. So once again, thank you to all the patrons out there for the support. Make sure to head on over to Patreon. Check out the tiers for game review requests, movie review requests. On that note, we were going to do it last week, but scheduling stuff came up. So we'll get it done the next week or two. We'll figure it out. But yes, the awaited Tiptoes review will be on its way.
I watched it.
Did you finally watch it?
I finally watched it.
Ooh, words will be had.
There's so much to yeah.
So yeah, look forward to that, folks. But yeah, we'll be letting you know when that's all out there. And thank you for the support. And if you're listening on iTunes, Spotify, or YouTube, go to the other platforms, give us some likes and subscribes and reviews. And anything helps out the page, and we'll read any review on the podcast.
thank you guys. Truly, truly appreciate it. But Chambers, let's move on to our first topic this week that you pulled up, and it's from our good buddies at Kotaku, who I feel like we haven't talked about any articles from them for a while.
They haven't been as clickbaity lately.
No, and this one is, it's interesting, but it's probably one we don't need to spend a ton of time on. So, Last of Us studio, Naughty Dog, is cutting some of their developers. And as you read through this, they had about a head count of a little over 400 as of July, and this cut is roughly 25 developers were cut in an effort to downsize. This is not the only big company that's doing this. There's a lot of layoffs going around. I guess my question, the most interesting thing about this, Jim, is just because there's just way too much oversaturation of the market at this point, or what do you think is a real driving factor for this with all these companies and their layoffs?
I mean, for Naughty Dog, it's weird because like everything they shit out right now is just massive hit.
Yeah.
So like Uncharted 4, gigantic hit. Last of Us 2, gigantic hit. Last of Us TV series, gigantic hit. So you're not thinking that they should be hurting for any kind of money or anything like that. And maybe they're just looking like their next big project they announced is a remake or a remaster of Last of Us 2, which as of this recording is a 3-year-old game, which is ridiculous in my mind. So you probably don't need a lot of manpower behind it. And like 25 people out of 400, it's not a ton. It's what is that, like 4% of the workforce or something like that? Like it's small, but it's still, you look at it and you're just like, yeah, but why do you need to let anyone off? Like you could start working on something new.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Company that big, there's questions, but that's what I'm saying. Like Microsoft's been doing it, Sega, like there's a lot of companies out there that have been letting people off. EA let go 1,000 people. Like I'm trying to figure out like what's driving it, because it's not like the video game market is suffering. I don't know. Like is there any part of you that thinks like, I hate to be the tinfoil hat guy, could any of this be due to AI?
Well, Brian, if you're gonna be the tinfoil hat guy, you got to say it's the globalists. 1, and then 2. I mean, maybe. I mean, there's a very good chance AI could be cutting into shit. Like studios are getting lazier across the board, and if they can cut corners, they're going to do it. So maybe there is some minor coding, or there maybe with some art assets, they'll just use AI and ask for forgiveness later when the creator sees that their shit's been used. So you never know. Maybe it's a thing that's like coming into play.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying good, bad, or any other. I'm just saying that's something I see. But, for those 25 folks, for a company that's over 300, for a company that doesn't churn out games like on the regular, seems like it's a kind of big group to have, unless they were like publishing shit in and out a couple times a year. I don't know. I don't think that's the biggest one, but yeah, it's
still it's one of those ones where you look at and you go, huh.
And you go like, yeah, why? That's the bigger one. But yeah, we'll keep track. We'll see if any other large companies are doing it. But you let us know in the comments. I mean, is this a red flag for something that we're obviously missing? I mean, Jim is Mr. Go Over His Head. And even though I am the people's champ.
God damn it.
With the best belt.
Don't you dare.
But Chambers, speaking of companies and a little bit of things moving, Unity CEO.
Little update to Rooney, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, Unity has been they've been popular for all the wrong reasons in the gaming world for the past 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks, and it seems like they're making a big move.
Yeah, so Unity's they announced that their chief executive officer and president, James Whitehurst is the newly appointed one. Oopsies.
It's John.
Yeah, John Riccatello. something extremely Italian. Yes, he is retiring as president, CEO, chairman, and a member of the company's board of directors effective immediately. And this was as October 9th. So, yesterday, as of this recording. Mm-hmm. And yeah, he had been there for a long time. I think he joined the Unity board in 2013 and stepped into the lead of the company in 2014, where they faced significant challenges. John has led Unity through the incredible growth over the last 10 years, helping us transition from a perpetual licensee to a subscription model, enabling developers to monetize, build other game services to serve our creative community, leading us through an IPO and positioning as a pioneer in the developer community. Unity would not be where it is today without the impact of his contributions. And he was probably also the driving force behind their new price rollout that we talked about a few weeks ago that pissed off everybody. And yeah, right, sacrificial lamb has to be made.
He does, and I guess, and the only thing I did not see, was there a buyout? Is there a severance package? Is there a big, like, we got to do this move, but here's a fat check, go on your way?
So yeah, from what I'm seeing, they are not reporting on that. So I would have to imagine there is a big payout for him to be like, look, you gotta go. Someone's gotta go.
Yeah.
You heard his title. He has like 5 titles. Like, you run everything. So
he's the guy. And
you're the guy.
You know,
sometimes being the guy means you have to be the guy who takes the blame. And even if it wasn't his idea, I don't know if it was or wasn't, but guess what? You're the guy. Bye-bye.
So he's 65 years old. Oh, he's from Erie, PA.
Hey, local boy. Man, he came from that dump and he became that. Well, good for him.
I'm trying to see. Let's see what his net worth is. Let's take a little peek behind the curtain, Jim.
Peek behind the veil, Brian. Little researcher Rooney.
Net worth $151 million.
Solid.
All right. So, you know, he's not hurting. He's 65. Company that he's been with for over 10 years. You could say that's a love or hate thing, right, Jim? Like, if he's a driving force behind this terrible decision, is it kind of noble to be like, whatever, I'll take the blame and bail out?
Look, Brian, let's put it this way. Let's make it very painfully topical, Brian. Game 2 of the NLDS. Zach Wheeler mowing down 8 strikeouts, 6 or at like 5 2/3 shutout innings. But, you know, you can give up that 2-run bomb that just leads to your eventual loss. Someone's got to be the guy to take the blame there, Brian.
But did they need to seat him? Did they need to pull him? I don't think they did.
Nah, at that point they had to. His fastball had already dropped like 4 miles per hour. Like, he was gassed.
Maybe he should just do better.
Maybe he should. Not like he doesn't get enough.
Well, here's the deal. This guy, the CEO, I'm kind of shocked that they were willing to make this announcement.
Me too, especially for, like, it seemed like they were ready to just, like, either rest on their laurels or double down, and then all of a sudden they backtracked a little bit, but this seems like a really big backtrack. So.
Do you think there's any further backtracking with the pricing model, or is that still probably in cement?
I haven't heard anything in a while, but you know what's going to come down to? Give it like a fiscal quarter and see how their numbers are looking and how much people are using them.
Yeah.
And if there's a huge drop, then you'll hear more news.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. That'll be one of those ones. I don't think it'll last as long as Bud Light, which thank God there's no Bud Light this week. But I think it
Not
will.
for lack of trying, Brian. I tried. There's nothing.
I think this is one we'll probably be following for a while, see like the trends that happen with that. So
this is going to be one that's going to come back in like 3 months and be like, oh yeah, Unity.
yeah. Oh, look who's leading Bud Light.
Damn it.
All right, Chambers. So another piece of not super shocking news, in my opinion.
Breaking news as of today.
Yeah, it's new news, but Nintendo's doing what Nintendo does best, disappointing its fans. And they have finally announced that they're going to shut...
My bad. This was not breaking news this week. This was from last week, but I just I forgot this was on the itinerary. Go on, Brian.
So they're going to shut down the online features for their 3DS and the Wii U. That failed piece of shit. I had to throw that in for you. In 2024. So, I mean, here's the deal. They already shut down the eShops.
Yeah, a couple months ago.
Is this... I mean, everyone had to see that writing on the wall. We've been talking about a lot of companies doing this. Nintendo is notorious for just... They just don't seem to care or want to support any virtual fun for their folks. They just want buy our first party shit, and that's it. Because here's the deal. You still got a lot of people out there, right? Like, fuck the Wii U, but 3DS. I'm like, there's still a lot of people who probably use it.
Yeah, 3DS was surprising, especially since it had, like, the Street Pass element to it, and... it had its online community and crap like that for all a bunch of different things. I mean, it sold like, 80, 90 million units? Something like that?
Yeah, it's shocking to me. Well, it's not shocking Nintendo's doing this. It's just like, why?
Like, shutting down the eShops is one thing. Like, the 3DS is, 12 years old at this point. The Wii U is... The Wii U was younger, but that was
it makes sense.
Flop. So,
makes sense.
Yes. Yeah, shut down the eShops, fine. It sucks, but I get it. But yeah, I mean, even shutting down the... You know what? Like, shutting down the internet in general is big because, like, I think there's still a pretty strong Mario Maker community out there, and people don't like Mario Maker 2. Like, they still prefer Mario Maker 1. So, shutting that down is, like, huge, especially for that community. And, yeah, the 3DS, like you said, like, that was still a really popular system. So I get you have, systems you're talking about, like, a decade old, 13 years old. But it's still, like, it's not that long of a time before shutting down the servers, too. It's weird.
And we've talked about this with these companies. Like, does it really cost you that much to keep those servers open?
For the amount of people using it, like, Bri, we're never going to see screenshots anymore of, like, the 20 people playing Black Ops 2 on Wii U. We're not going to get that anymore. That small, devoted fan base, Brian. What about them?
Exactly. But what's funny is I've seen a few articles, and one of them is from CBR.com, said that this is connected to the fact that they said this is to coincide with their release of the long-awaited Switch successor. Basically, so they're saying they're doing this in preparation for this.
But... does one affect the other?
Sure doesn't, Jim. Sure
I don't
doesn't.
think so.
I mean, yeah, if you take away online play, man, that sucks. I mean, it just, like I said, in a world like today, and we know all consoles are going to do it at some point because we just talked about the 360 is doing that. No, they're not getting rid of online. They're getting rid of their shop finally.
Right.
But yeah, like, I don't know.
Right. Here's a question. So the Wii U and 3DS online capabilities are all free. They, Switch started free, and then they eventually started charging.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think if they were charging for it, do you think they'd still be running them? Because right now at this point, I guess they could justify it as not enough people are justifying the resources we are putting into it. I guess. Like, at this point, if you shut down the eShops anyway, then it's all just a good faith gesture at this point. But do you think they would have survived a little bit longer? Because I mean,
for sure.
Yeah.
Or, they would have just made them pay a premium. I wish... I'm trying to see if there's an active
Brian,
user account.
You like your hypotheticals.
I love it.
Okay. If Nintendo came out, let's say, tomorrow, and said, we changed our mind, we'll keep these services alive, but you have to pay a minor yearly fee kind of deal. Basically, if you want to keep using it, but now you have to pay after all these years of having it free, would you be against that?
No, because that's at least giving... In all honesty, I think anyone who is still playing these consoles like religiously, you're already Nintendo like fanboys to the nth degree. So paying some nominal fee, even if it's like the 20 or whatever it is for base Switch services, I think that's fair. Now, if they are dicks about it and they're like, it's like $100 or $50. Like, if it's anything more than the base Switch, I think that'd be fucked up.
That would be a ballsy move.
I think it's still, not a good look for them to even do that. I think you're absolutely right, though, in the sense that they see this thing that they have for free. What's the point of them doing it? I don't know. Like, then you also get down to semantics of, like, if the Wii U only has 1,000 people playing it online, is it worth keeping? Like, what number is it where it's like, you should probably keep it open? Is it 5,000, 10,000? I don't know. I don't know what that number looks like. As I said, every year I go back and try some Call of Duties. I can go back to Call of Duty 2 or 3. There's like literally 17 people on, and I can still get into a game somehow. I don't know how that is.
That's fucking crazy.
And I can still do that. It takes forever, but I can get into a game. Why Nintendo can't do it, I don't know. But once again, it's not shocking to me, because what was their first console to ever really use online? Was it Wii?
Dreamcast had not Dreamcast, fucking Sega. GameCube had very extremely limited online capabilities, and for the most part, the modem was only from Japan, I think.
Okay.
So, but for like mainstream internet use, it was the Wii. Or I guess the original DS. I would have to say.
I was gonna say, so maybe like the DS. Yeah.
And yeah, honestly, like, I guess it makes sense that, like, you know what, like, I don't want to be devil's advocate here for Nintendo, but it's like, yeah, if they're not keeping the eShop open to, like, get DLC money or people buying games, and they're not charging for the internet, why would they keep it up at this point?
Well, it goes back to, like, WWE 2K22. I think the thing is, you made a great point with Mario Maker, right? Like, that, a core component of that is playing other people's shit. Just like...
Oh, that's the core.
Yeah, and just like 2K22 and all these other games where it's like community creations, that's like a huge point of it. And I don't know how could you possibly salvage that? Like, if you do something like maybe peer-to-peer downloads directly, like maybe if you guys connect online and like there's a community, I'm sure, built for all this shit, and it's like, hey, if you still want these, maybe you can download it directly from your PC to it. If that capability is even there, I don't know. Like, so allow someone to send that shit to their Nintendo account so it could still be added to their game. Something to that effect.
Yeah, like, I know that crap's still out there. Like, I think there's still peer-to-peer servers for, like, Phantasy Star Online for the GameCube. So, like, if there's a hardcore enough fan base for it, like, they'll figure out a way to make it keep going. But...
I'm not, like I said, I'm not shocked. This is one of these ones I won't go overly giving Nintendo shit for. It's just like a lot of things. You go, did you have to do that? I don't know.
Yeah, it's like an easy goodwill win that they could have.
Yeah.
We're like, do like a hard cutoff. Like, I think obviously with the Wii U being a failure, it makes sense that they do it. But I don't know, if you gave like a console, let's say 15 years, made like a nice number that people can look at and go, that's a good run. You do like a 15-year mark and then you cut it off, then I think most would go fine instead of freaking out. Or maybe everyone would just freak out anyway because it's the internet and YouTube. And they would have to get their clicks and their updates. So I don't know. I don't know what the right call is.
Yeah, I mean, I whenever Nintendo finally does announce their next console, man, I wonder how quickly they start cutting ties with shit on the Switch.
That will be very interesting.
Because they're going to have like, well, that shop you like on the Switch? Well, here's a new one. Like it'll just be that like quick little like, just re-download and rebuy and do like, I don't know.
Or the Nintendo Switch Online shit and stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
And how much they're going to keep up there, or the service games are going to keep going. Because, I mean, stuff has gone away. Like, Pac-Man 99 just went away. But, I mean, that wasn't Nintendo-owned, so they didn't want to keep the license, I guess, with Namco or something going, or Namco didn't want to do it. But still, it's like, wow, that only had a couple years.
Yeah. I mean, it really wouldn't shock me if, like, very early on, whenever they have Switch 2, whatever you want to call it, how quickly you'll see, like, exclusive downloads only for the eShop on the Switch 2. So like it'll maybe still be the same shop, but you won't be able to have the option down on the original Switch. Because they're just about moving physical units. That's what they care about, that paramount to everything else, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, they sold a lot of fucking games too. It isn't like the Wii where they only sold units and not games.
But I'm saying game. I'm saying they only care about selling physical media. That's like their end thing. Whereas like you look at someone like Microsoft, they're like, just get our platform onto every device possible. Like that's their goal. Nintendo's like, buy physical shit from us.
Oh yeah. Actually, speaking of physical shit, anyone out there listening, if you like random game swag shit, just go to a GameStop right now. Like one of the ones by me had a buy one get 3 free on clearance item shit. And it was all like Funko Pops and action figures and crap all like that. Those little grab baggy random thingies of random figures inside things. So if you like that dumb shit, you could fucking tear ass at a GameStop right now. And he's like, the guy at the counter was like, yeah, I mean, if you buy 2 things and you get 6 things free. It's like, holy shit. Yeah. And like they had like keyboards there too. So like if you buy a new keyboard for $60, you could basically get a fuckload of shit for free that you would have wanted for the rest of their selection.
Yeah.
So yeah, go buy useless plastic. Also, Brian, real quick.
Yes.
This beer is hitting hard. Holy crap.
I bet it is.
Oh my god. I'm 1.5 in and I'm like, whoo, mama.
But Jim, let's talk about another interesting. I didn't see this coming. Don't really know why we need it.
This was the breaking news today.
Yeah. The PS5 is getting their new Slim model just in time for the holiday season. Okay, so I'll have the picture up. You have the original with the little bump out. Now you get rid of the bump out.
Well, Brian, the picture from the top of the article, that's not the original. That's the new designs for the new one. Basically, it doesn't look all that much different from what we had before. It's just smaller.
And well, that's my point. Like I'm saying, like there isn't really that much of a difference. They have lines going down the sides. So aesthetically, that's probably the biggest change.
Yeah, instead of 2 faceplates, now you have 4. Ooh.
And at a price point where you're still at $500.
Oh yeah, you're not saving any money yet.
And they're digital. So 500 is with the Ultra HD Blu-ray disc drive, and then the digital edition, so you don't even get a disc drive, is only $50 cheaper.
But Brian, you can buy a separate disc drive for $70 and then attach it to your digital-only version.
Yeah, why would you do that? Now you're paying.
How the fuck do you charge $70 for a thing that's $50 more on the other thing? That's what?
There's
Brian, my favorite kicker for this on the stock PS5. Me and you both have PS5s.
Mm-hmm.
It comes with a little stand-a-rooney, Brian. You can put it horizontally. You can stand it vertically. Guess what? That stand that you need, especially for these new models, to be putting it vertically, don't come with it. Got to buy it separately. $30 goddamn dollars.
Why? Like there's so many things about this. Like, why are you coming out with it?
Actually, to cut you off real quick.
Yeah.
I remember I could have done research, but hey, it's me. But I remember seeing stuff where it was like, I think certain components or chipsets, or there was some part that was a part of the PS5 design that just like, it doesn't exist anymore. Okay. So I think that's why they had to like do a redesign of some sort, and why we're getting it now.
I'm just like, but here's the deal. Okay. And I know I might be jumping the shark a little bit too much with this. How far off do you think there's a new PS console? I know it seems like way too soon to ask that question, but I mean, 3 years, 4 years, 4 years tops, right?
Probably, because what did these all come out in 2019? I want to say. So
This is
we're like
2019.
about 4 years in right now. So another 4 years would be about 8 years. Dude, if they came, even right now, if they came out with a new one in another 4 years, like right now, like outside of like the need for parts, I guess, it's shocking there's a slim model.
So they
'Cause
came out in 2020.
Okay. So it's like, normally you do that when you're, pretty far into a console's life and you've already sold the bulk of what you're going to sell, but you want to sell to, cheaper models that are going to sell for people who want to spend less.
Yeah.
You're not getting that with this. And we're 4 years in and people still complain left and right that the PS5 doesn't have the games that they wanted for it.
Yeah.
Like, for the outside of the diehards, like most people are kind of disappointed with all the new gen systems right now. Because there just aren't all these killer apps that people want that like are a real reason to buy these systems.
Yeah.
So like even in 4 years, unless something crazy happens, it's not going to feel like it's time for it.
Yeah.
And how much is technology really going to? Here's another kicker for these slim models. Is in terms of pure like power, there's no upgrades. It's the exact same specs as the launch PS5. So it's not stronger. It's just smaller.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I saw a comparison done by Trusted Reviews. So the price is same specs, size and weight. It's apparently it weighs 18% less. So it's down to 3.2 kilograms. I'm sorry. With the disc is 3.2. Without the disc is 2.6, which I don't give two fucks about the weight. They did say that this does have more storage than the standard PS5. And like you mentioned, the detachable disk drive. But so I said that's why I said maybe 4 years, because between PS3, which was 2013, to this, it was a 7-year cycle. So if that's the marker, if 7 years is the new cycle for these consoles like this, you got 4 years. Yeah, I mean, I guess at some point I was expecting the updated one, but we know whatever the next updated one is going to be coming after this. So this just feels like a very odd, like, let's get something out in time for Christmas. I don't know. Maybe they'll just have so many more available and it still makes up for, like, I don't know. Is PS5 even still hard to get anymore?
No, not as it was. Maybe it's still like, it's not like there's a ton of them at stores, but you can find them now.
This
But
is just
Brian,
a
you know what my
weird-ass
favorite
move.
design thing of this is?
Go on.
So without buying the vertical stand, you have the horizontal setup. Did you happen to take a look at that horizontal picture, Brian? The little kickstand Rooney that comes with it?
I did look at it, but not in great detail, so I'm pulling it up right now, because now you got me. Like, I looked at it, I was like, it just looks stupid. But let me see.
And actually, like for the launch PS5, I wonder if they fixed that like liquid metal thing that's part of the disk drive or the hard drive, where like that's the reason putting it vertical was like bad for the console because of the way it spins and melts the metal or some shit. I wonder if they're fixing that. But yeah, Brian, let me know what you think about this this great design for the horizontal standing. The stock standing, we should say.
The stock standing, that where the disk drive is,
No, next to it.
that little weird ass clip that comes down.
That tiny little nub that flips down. That is your
the
horizontal
fuck is
stand.
that?
For the video version, please remember to zoom in on that
Yeah,
so people can see it.
I'll put that in, but that's
So for those not watching on the video feed, it's literally just like,
it looks like a fucking paperclip.
yeah, it's like it's a plastic looking paper clip, maybe 1/4 of an inch wide, if you're lucky, that probably just 1/8 of an inch, and just flicks down, and that's gonna hold up your entire goddamn $500 system.
Wow.
Boy.
I mean, shit, guys. I don't know. If you're out there, if you're in the market looking for a PS5, I bet by this point you can probably find some used ones somewhere and save yourself some money. I guess if you're someone who's held out this long, yeah, it makes sense. Like, why not just get this? Except for the shitty collectors, I'll be like, I have 4 versions of this, and I need the picture for YouTube. Boo-boo-boo.
I don't even think there's that many variations, though. Like, I don't even think there's that many custom plate ones and shit.
Not yet, Jim. Not yet.
Keyword yet. That is true.
So yeah, we'll can't wait in a year or two when we say like, well, here's the next PS5 model that has come out to meet up with the demand of whatever the next iteration of better HD will exist. I don't know.
Yeah, HD 6KR, some whatever dumb bullshit.
Yeah.
But Brian, so going from a weirdly almost unnecessary thing with Sony that we don't like, we have a weirdly unnecessary thing we do like because we're bringing back the weird gaming items segment for the podcast, Brian. And this week, this comes to us from Time Extension. Music fans are modding early PS1 consoles to use as CD players. This is so goddamn goofy.
It's so goofy, but it's also like there's two parts of me here, right? Like number one, if you click on the link that we have, I'm actually going to add another link. So the first one was from Time Extension, as Jim said. But if you click on the What Hi-Fi picture that shows like the actual thing, and you go to whathifi.com, they show some variations, and the one in black looks pretty goddamn awesome. And then they have the one with the clear top so you can see it spinning. It's absolutely unnecessary. Now, if you read the articles, it's basically saying, hey, they're actually really good sound quality CD players, and they're pretty damn smooth. I guess maybe I'm just out of the loop of just how goddamn easy and cheap PS1s are that you would want to do this. Like, I know it was obviously a crazy mass-produced system, but is there any part of you, we've talked about conservation and shit like that this kind of is pisses you off for that reason?
No, I think it's awesome. Like it. There are like 10 billion fucking PS1s out there, and you know what? At this rate, like any of them that are out there that you're gonna find in the wild, you know, quote unquote the wild, like the lasers and shit are probably broken anyway. So, like nothing that's gonna run well is gonna be OEM stock. It doesn't matter at this point. Like, if you're gonna keep a PS1 alive, you're probably gonna be changing the laser out or putting in a mode or doing other shit. So, you have a shell that you can fuck around with. And like it's weird that like these audiophiles are saying that, you know, the digital audio converter is so goddamn good on these early models, because like I talked to some buddies who are like really into like sound and music, and they're like, yeah, they're good for 95, but there's way better ones out there now. So it's like the reason everyone's creaming over it doesn't even really apply. So it's probably just like a nostalgia thing wrapped in with, hey, this is good enough, and this is going to be the coolest looking CD player you're going to find out there.
Yeah, I mean, but then that also goes to the whole idea, right? Like, it's the CDs will become the vinyls of another generation, right? Like, people will flock to it, quickly learn how annoying maintaining CDs are or dealing with scratch CDs. But at the end of the day, I didn't realize how good I'll say the PS1 sound quality was.
And this mainly applies real quick to the earliest editions, the one that had the audio and video inputs separated on the back, not the ones that you can find all the goddamn time that just have like the AV output along with the power outputs.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I love, like I said, I actually wouldn't mind having one of these if it was a reasonable enough price. I'm not going to buy one and then do it myself, because why the fuck would I do that? But, Jim, if you want to get me one, I'll let you. So go ahead.
You know, dude, I have 3 PS1s and none of them are like this. I'm like, God damn it. But you know what? Like, I got to say, though, the PS1 just CD player menu screen, beauty of 90s nostalgia design right there. It's just the one that just looks like a paintball splatters all over the goddamn place in neon colors. Oh, God, I love it. I would never want to use it just as a CD player, because I would need to have that visual from there. You're losing something. It's like, it's Fugazi. It's Fugazi to mod it this way, Brian. You got to have the visual on there, too.
Okay. Well, here's the deal. You get something like that and you hook it up to one of those really small CRT TVs. Like the little handheld ones. Have it sitting right there.
You know what? Or even fuck it, mod it some more. Put a little HDMI out on it or some shit like that. today's Amazon Prime Day. Everyone's buying bullshit they don't need, so just buy a little fucking
Ooh, I
screen
need to
and
go
hook it up to
look.
that.
Now I'll have to buy some shit, Jim. But yeah, no, here's the deal. I've said some of the gaming items you've picked, pretty goddamn stupid. I love this. I like the way it looks. I would really like to see how this works though, without knowing the specifics. Like I'm gonna watch a video of someone who did this and see how they did it, how it works, and everything. Because it's got me very interested, Jim. I'll say that.
Yeah, me too. Like, part of me does kind of just want to have, even though I just said, how dare you ever use it without the screen, I do kind of want one and want to mod it and just have it sitting on top. Have it as a little showpiece in the middle of an entertainment center in the living room. Hook it up to the surround sound.
Just sitting there.
Hook it up to the surround sound. Hook it up to my sound bar.
Yeah, you could do that. But yeah, no, I like this. So, modders, do your goddamn thing and enjoy it, because that's just fun. I like that. But you know who's not fun, Jim? You know who's just still a garbage human being?
Right, depending on who you talk to, he might be a ton of fun. Right, we keep it light on this show. So what more light topic can we go out on right now than the Israeli-Palestine conflict? Let's fucking go.
Jim. Beyond the conflict.
Right. It's an update. Got an update. This is an update.
Well, that's what I was going to say. The conflict is awful enough as it is. What I found interesting, as someone who's not a Twitter person, I found myself scrolling Twitter because I kind of can't believe I guess I'm very naive to be shocked that so many people are drawing these lines. But the amount of people who are just throwing shit out there that are making themselves look absolutely terrible. And here's a shining example. Good old Adam Sessler. So what did he say, Jim?
Our buddy with the take of a lifetime, Brian. So, Adam Sessler, jumping in to the topic of the day. He writes, couldn't sleep last night. Just kept thinking about Danny Masterson. If only he had those women for a free Palestine, he'd be on the, 4th, maybe 5th season of his Netflix show? Click button, send tweet.
This is why you gotta be able to have a dislike button and everyone say it. On Twitter, especially. Like, you should have a dislike, right?
Right, you don't need a dislike button when you have the ratio. You have the almighty ratio.
I mean, there's plenty of ratios on this guy, but it's... Fuck, man. Like,
double comments doubled of likes. He didn't even break 200 likes on this, and he has an army of simps. Woof. Mamma mia.
How does this guy, like... In what world do people actually find him funny? I haven't looked at his profile since that last time. I don't even know how long ago we talked about him. And I'm looking through his tweets, and my God, does he just want to suck his own micropecker off with how he writes? Like, he thinks he's just the shit, and he's not. He's that guy that, like, I'm smarter than everyone, and I'm going to say the thing that's really funny in my eyes. And it's like, dude, the fuck? Like, I don't know. This goes back to some people just need to be hit.
He went on a couple. He actually shockingly did not go on the total spurg out that he had done a lot of the times through his other misadventures through the Reddit realm. But his final one as of an hour ago is, anyway, fuck all you gamers and Reddit instructed leftists. Just like every adult suspected, you're more than happy to gobble down any plate o' murder as long as you buy it from the right franchise. You love to hate, but you're too fucking weak to man up and admit it. Right. Hero of our time.
Man.
You're not brave enough. You know who's brave enough? Adam Sessler.
I mean, for this guy to talk like that, what the fuck has he ever done with anything in his life?
Bri, a little show called X-Play.
Exactly.
You're welcome.
Exactly. And he got called out on his shit from that show for bad jokes he made back then. and he couldn't handle it. And the only people that gave him the only tiny bit of notoriety that he so desperately seeks, he shit on. So, yeah, Jim, I don't know.
And it's like a thing where it's like, I know what you're trying to say here, but my God, did you pick the worst possible way to word it? Holy shit. Where literally no one is on your side with what you're saying.
God damn it. But, no, I mean, God damn. Like, can't this guy just go off and go away forever?
And
I don't know.
I follow him because I got to see what this guy does because he's interesting. He's a fucking nutcase. And for the most part, he's boring. Like, he just, like, talks about, like, the book he's reading that day and how blah, 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 intellectual I am, jerky, jerky, jerky. And then this thing, whoo boy, that's the Adam I know and love right here.
I don't love him. I don't like him. Nope. I don't like anything
loving in a sense of a content farm, Brian.
Oh, I know. I know what you're saying. I just, I want him to stick to just trying to shit on gamers, like how he tried to kind of...
He still brought it back to the gamers at the end. It's still a gaming segment for a gaming podcast. Thank you, Adam Sessler.
Adam Sessler, you're a terrible human being. Chambers, how is that beer treating you?
Oh my God, I'm fucked up. Like, I'm not, like, super drunk, but I'm almost finishing off my second one, and I'm like, holy God, I'm way more buzzed than I thought I would be. So, yeah, these 10%ers, they kicked in.
Yeah.
And you know what? For, hazy triple with all the alcohol and citrusy, went down really smooth.
Nice.
I never had a single, bitter beer moment or anything. I was just like, oh, yeah, this is just like boozy orange juice right now.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. I mean, my little bit of whiskey in on my tea is, it's not going to do much. But I can feel my throat on fire. So that's... Oh boy, is that the fun part of it, Chambers. But for everyone listening, I do want to say thank you guys so much for sticking with us. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe and notification bell so you can see every time we put a new video up. Chambers, I am looking forward to doing that tier list of the Dragon Ball Z characters.
I can't wait. I'm gonna start putting that together tomorrow. It's not gonna be every character in the world because I don't want to make it a 2-hour video. But I'll have the tier of the expected characters, the minor league characters, and some just fucking randos, and I can't wait to see what you come up with.
I can't wait to do it. And if you're listening to us on iTunes or Spotify, as Jim said, if you give us a 5-star rating and hit subscribe, we will read each and every one of those comments on the Power Hour podcast. With that, we want to say have a good night, everyone, and cheers.
Cheers, everybody.